guess a black ride out. I'm not talking about a night out. Like someone turned the light out. Like a whitewash wipeout. Well, you know the situation. It's been weighing on your shoulders. Take a little isolation. Feel it get a little colder. I wanna feel the vibration. All my people in the music. I wanna feel the vibration. Oh, you know I'm gonna lose it. Yeah, but you gotta go down, down. You dig deep down, can you dig deep down. Down, down, you dig deep down, can you dig deep down. Do you know how we got here? It's gonna change, tell me what year. Just trying to get my shot here. Let it fall if you got fear. Cause you gotta let your soul shine. Yeah, you gotta have a good time. You gotta let your body unwind before you're back to the grind, grind, grind. I wanna feel the vibration. All my people and the music. I wanna feel the vibration. Oh, you know I'm gonna lose it. Yeah, but you gotta go down, down. We dig deep down. Can you dig deep down. Down, down, we dig deep down. Can you dig deep down. I'm singing down, down, we dig deep down. Can you dig deep down. Down, down, we dig deep down. Can you dig deep down. Well, cause you gotta let your soul shine. Yeah, you gotta have a good time. You gotta let your body unwind before you're back to the grind, grind, grind. Yeah, you gotta let your soul shine. Yeah, you gotta have a good time. You gotta let your body unwind before you're back to the grind, grind, grind. I wanna feel the vibration. All my people and my music. I wanna feel the vibration. Oh, you know I'm gonna lose it. Yeah, but you gotta go down, down. We dig deep down. Can you dig deep down. Down, down, you dig deep down. Can you dig deep down. I'm singing down, down, you dig deep down. Can you dig deep down. Hey, down, down, you dig deep down. Can you dig deep down. Well,
Welcome back to Songwriters Showcase. I am your host, TJ Moss, and it is a pleasure and a privilege to have Lee Coulter back on the show. Welcome back, Lee.
thanks for having me. Really glad to be here.
We were just reminiscing about the first time that you came in, and we got really deep.
My thing is always going back to we're always grappling with uncertainty. So music is a way to go, what's going to happen next? Like, you know that... You know it's going to finish on the one. You're expecting, like, my expectations here in life, my expectations here, and that my life took me here. In music, my expectations here, and like you deliver.
Yes. And I figured if you're in a hole, you know, there's one thing you gotta do.
There's podcasts to keep it light, and there's those, and sometimes, you know, as an artist, that's where I've been lately, is trying to peel back that onion.
Okay.
On a deep level, so yeah.
Well, yeah, so where you been since we caught up last time?
I've been a mixture of, you know, just the busy work of the gigging musician, so which I've found my gratitude in, and just like grateful for the experience that I've gained through it, and philosophically staying on top of that, like being glad about it, even through physical injury. My forearm's so sore from all the long gigs, but doing those with passion and meaning. And while I've been doing that, kind of on the artistry side, on the original music side, honing what am I supposed to do as an artist, learning the information I've learned about my own self and my own healing, as well as how that relates to a bigger societal healing that I feel needs to happen, and just figuring out what's the art, what's the song, what is the lyric, the message, the deep feeling that will be effective or meaningful in some way. And I think as an artist, it's our job right now to figure that out for ourselves, and then display how we do that in front of our audience.
Yes. Absolutely.
And for me, I feel like this cocoon of the last 3-4 years of playing those gigs, to allow myself to to feel that and heal that and realize what I need to do is coming to this kind of new chapter where I realize it. So for me, it's exciting. At the same time, it's scary because it's more authentic than I've ever been, which is more vulnerable than I've ever been, which is more open to backlash than I've ever been. But at the same time, all my heroes in artistry say that's where you need to go toward the fear.
Yeah.
So it's exciting, but scary.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so what are some of these revelations that are coming?
Well,
through?
I realized I was living a story that of cultural significance that I didn't realize I was living. And I thought, for example, and the quickest way to get there, and I think I'll start with my overall thesis is that we're so primitive as a species that all art is comforting us with the problem we have with objective reality. And so we fill our minds up with traditional stories from generation after generation, and I was a product of that. And when I found out in 2017 that my two countries I identify as, Australia and America, had funded a genocide in the country my mother is from, I had this kind of visceral awakening of, oh, I didn't realize when I hear minorities talking about these problems and you go, okay, I know we've done some bad things and it feels so distant.
Yeah.
But that's the mindset. That's the story. It's so distant. We've always done it. There's always been a bit of that. And that's been in the back of my upbringing. And,
sure.
and the quickest way to say it is that I grew up thinking I'm a white person in a brown skin because I was in a culture where my friends are white and my heroes on screen were white. I thought like them, so I must be white inside. And so that narrative, and the more I hear people of color's story, I love James Baldwin's stuff, has been so healing for me. And the more I hear that, the more I go, oh, that is a common thing. And I didn't realize I was a part of it. But living that story, coming out of that story, realizing how that was part of it, now I feel like I have a responsibility to go, oh, this is happening. If I didn't realize it, and I am brown, and this affected me personally, and I didn't realize it till I was in my late 30s, of course, this is a very difficult thing to uncover and to grasp and grapple with.
Especially because you're someone that is actively tuning in to try and uncover it.
And that's how deep it is.
Most people are just actively trying to tune out.
Right, because it's comfortable.
Right.
And we're so primitive that we seek comfort in this objective reality that is quite uncomfortable. And so art is just like, a lot of my art has been comfort. Like, here's the comfort.
And I think music especially has a power to not only the vibration itself to help comfort. So it opens things. It opens the heart, right? And then when the heart is open, the message can come through.
Absolutely. When you do that with vulnerability, the artist is true to their vulnerability and they're open, like you say. The quickest way for our human species to trust anything. Because as soon as I hear a song or I see a piece of work or I read a book, that I go, I know that feeling, and that person is me. I'm in those shoes. I used to want to be Marty McFly from Back to the Future. That's me. I'm white because, art shows you I feel like that, and so I'm not alone in this experience. We're just a bunch of senses absorbing all this information. If someone puts into my sensory information that they have a similar experience to what I'm experiencing, I'm like, wow, thanks, artist.
Thank you. And
it's our job to be authentic with each other. And I think a lot of a struggle in society with mental health, with all these epidemics of the worst of things, on mental health level, on culture wars and all this, it comes down to where are we being authentic with ourselves? Where are we avoiding objective reality for comfort? It's the artist's job to say it's all uncomfortable. We have to heal ourselves in our own deconstruction, in our own discomfort. We have to find where the joy is, where the glory of all that. Like one of the reasons I'm listening to so much James Baldwin right now, he's always talking about at the same time there's all this struggle. Like it's related to spirituality, it's related to Buddhism and Christ-like energies. Like you've got to find the freedom, the bliss in that individual moment, that meditation of now, and express that through art, because that's the beauty, despite the objective reality having some scary stuff in it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So it's deep.
Yeah, it is. So is it now that you've sort of pulled some of this in to yourself and you're like really like tuned into this, is it coming through your songwriting?
Yes. The thing is, it's always been coming through my songwriting.
Right. Sure.
And I didn't realize it.
Okay.
Like
wow.
That's happened for me with this awakening. And I feel like the more that artists realize it, a lot of the cultural struggle comes from, it's all just narcissistic energy versus freedom energy. So the artist feels something is off, whether it's something isn't as beautiful as they want it to be, so they're making it more beautiful, or something troubled them, so they're making it better. It's basically, I want freedom from this feeling, whatever it is. And because that's a mirror to our problems in society, artists are set up right now to be the voices of freedom and unity and familiarity, reminding us how familiar we are through this art. One of my best known songs to my fans is a song called A Glorious Day on the Planet I Love, which is basically a gratitude song for existence. And I like the zoom out perspective. I've got this theory that, we've got astronauts that come back from space with this feeling they call the overview effect. They see the planet and they have this profound experience of like, we're all just one. And I have this theory that we have the information for all of us to get to that understanding. We don't have to go to space to understand out the large zoomed out scope through history, through information, through science. We can understand how we all got to this point. And it's our primitiveness that makes us see in a smaller scope without wanting to see the big picture.
Sure.
Which is evolutionary and makes sense. And it's a privilege. It's absolutely a privilege to zoom out.
Sure.
And only privileged people can really do that and say that.
Right.
But when they're not doing that specifically, it's just furthering the problem. And so the artists are the ones to comfort us through that opening up.
It's almost like we're going to space right here.
Right. We're going to space right here. And remember that we're all one. It's the same. Everything's a cliche. That's what I'm learning in the art. That's why cliche songs work.
Right. Because
that familiarity and the truth of it.
Yeah.
The religions all have that very similar core message.
Sure.
Because there's that universal human truth. And we have the knowledge on how we came to these conclusions in each belief system, why the humans, through our nervous systems believe that empathy is a good thing, and all the neurons that are firing. We have psychology and science now. These are new concepts to our very primitive species.
Right.
We loved each other and survived through most of our history not using objective reality as our best guide to survival.
Yeah.
And so this is a new concept that we're grappling with. And art is just, hey, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
We love each other. We can.
Yeah. Well, you played that song on our first time in the studio.
Yeah, that's kind of my business card.
Yeah, it's your business card. And I loved the story because you had written it on one of your worst days, right? And it's a song about a beautiful day, right? It's such a beautiful juxtaposition.
Thank you. And I feel like everyone knows the feeling of desiring to feel that uplift when they're down there. So if they recognize in that feeling of that song that I was in a place where I was here and I was just going, hey, phew, let's go up here. They're going to go, I'm like that guy.
Yeah.
I know that desire to do that. And I've been doing that kind of thing because of my own traumas that I didn't realize how deep. I always thought, I'm coming across as this goody two-shoes. Like, I don't have any tattoos. I always feel weird that I don't have tattoos because everyone's got this. But I just read this book, The Myth of Normal by Gabor Mate. Just breaking down how these myths of what is normalized is what best serves our biological makeup.
Sure.
And so the stories that we used to listen to from our elders and our wisdom that most of the stories we'd hear were from elders and those wise people. Mm-hmm. Now most of the stories we hear are from corporations with advertisements.
Sure.
And so that's why institutions. That's
Yeah.
why toxicity gets into our brains, and all that capitalism is trying to drive is the idea that you need this thing.
Right.
The stories used to be, this is how to best live. That's what our elders used to be. This is how to best live. This is how to raise your children. This is the best way to happiness.
Sure.
That was the majority of stories we hear. But then when advertisement and industrialization came in, the stories are, you don't have what you need.
Right.
You're suffering.
Right.
Buy this.
Yeah.
And so you get enough time of that, and we're all in this trap of cycles of stories that don't serve us.
Sure.
Yes.
And it become normalized, and it might not be serving us.
Exactly.
That's what's normal.
No, exactly.
Right.
Well, then you look at people's mental health and
Yeah.
you ask them how satisfied they are with their setup in life. And the book, That Myth of Normal, keeps on going. Is about, we've got all these advancements, but the advancement in happiness and satisfaction, it doesn't doesn't equal like the same trajectory that technology has.
Sure.
It's because we're missing the why. Why should we improve things? We're only going to get there through communicating the why.
Sure.
And that's the artist's job. So, that's why I feel excited. Humans have never had this stage of our existence before, where we were primitive, and we still are, and we're coming out of it where we've got this new form of bettering our lives through objective information. It's brand new. Like in the scope of our species, this is a brand new thing.
Sure.
We're having a hard time accepting it. Artists are just there to comfort us through that.
Well, I got to say, just as a human, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing, because, it's not easy. I know that you're on quite a journey, going very deep within yourself, and putting it out there is also very challenging.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've definitely had fear. There is a mechanism in my own. So I think I mentioned on the first show that I have a condition that they name complex post-traumatic stress disorder. All those labels, I believe, are just ways of measuring fear and your fear response. And, it goes into personality disorders where you can have borderline personality disorder or narcissistic personality disorder, and that those are higher levels of fear in your nervous system, patterns of fear that you've developed through life. And understanding that psychology myself, having a condition like that, I'm seeing, I think all of us have those reactions. It's not just like I have this thing and people are mentally unwell and they're perfect. Life challenges us and sets us up in patterns that we're not fully aware of. Again, I think I'm not going way off track here. But,
hey, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, but I was just saying thank you for the gratitude because of the fear that is in my system from the training of I have to be this thing. To live my best life, my successful life, I have to appear and speak a certain way and not challenge that certain way. And to finally go, wait a second, I didn't realize what was happening and that some of the thoughts I had weren't me being authentic to myself. Speaking out against that sends my nervous system into overdrive.
Yeah.
And as a pleaser, as a fawn response person, as an artist, well, a lot of artists, I think art is a fawn response. You could fight, you could get out of here and fly, you could freeze, or you could fawn. And fawn to me is what art is.
Yeah.
Life is challenging. Objective reality is scary, uncomfortable. I'm going to fawn over this beautiful, and that's our joy.
Fawn?
Fawn. We used to think there's just
freeze, fight, fawn.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's fight or flight is the one we all know. Then there's freeze and fawn.
Okay.
And the thing is, so we have this psychology. We understand all these mechanisms that we've created. That's where I think it's exciting for art now. All artists have ever done is trying to make sense of this existence.
Yeah.
We now have deeper information. I'm hearing pop songs now talking about some of this psychology. Artists have always drawn from the pioneers of society to figure out what is the familiarity, what is the truth. Artists are trying to get to the truth.
Yeah.
And when you've got scientists also trying to get to the truth, we have this new way of deciphering what the truth is and sharing that through art. Because if we're looking for universal truths, and now I have the psychology on what a universal truth is, why we have empathy, I can better hone the archetypes, because I feel like songwriting is a lot about understanding the archetypes of the ages, good and evil, death and life, light and dark, all these, and that's writing. But to understand the science of that more deeply, I think that just helps art hone in the truth for humans, which is what we've always tried to do. So that in that way, it's as uncomfortable and scary as things are, and we're all unsure, and money's always trying to keep us down.
Oh yeah.
On a spiritual level, on the pure art level, we are needed as much as ever, and we have more tools at our dispense to find the truth.
Sure.
So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, so do you have any newer songs that is coming through, or?
I do. I'm not sure that I'm ready to share the new ones
for sure.
But I don't think I played Vibration, and so in that fear of like I don't want to sit here being negative. I don't want to, because it doesn't work. Mostly because it doesn't work. Honestly, like if that worked, I would say, hey, I'm really uncomfortable with people not fully understanding that this perspective isn't just. I feel there's a feeling in my field that this narrative is always just pushed out. Here I am indignant because I have the privilege of expecting that my words mean something, because that's the world I grew up in. But as soon as I'm speaking out against the thing that I'm seeing, it's like, whoa, okay. And I feel that when I'm reading James Baldwin, I'm listening to the activist people I listen to on social media from the Black community, from the people of color, from LGBTQ plus community. I'm like, they've known this. And here I was as part of that system, and they've known this, and now I'm feeling it. I forget what the point of this was, but the songs coming through now are kind of speaking to that. But this song that I have it's about joy. You can get stuck in the negativity of it, and no one wants to hear from you.
Yeah.
When you're like, I'm angry, and it's sad. Yeah. I mean, you'll get people that feel the same thing as you, but that's not really who I'm speaking to. And I want them to hear me in an interview like this and hear themselves, because I didn't hear enough of this speak. I do feel alone a lot of the time, because the Black community has a Black community, the LGBTQ community has their community. I haven't found my community of like ex-Indonesian, Australian, American, traumatized, but I was raised like in a very white kind of mindset. I feel like I'm quite alienated, which is great for the philosophy and for the art, because I feel like I don't have a story apart from my objective one. I don't have any cultural leaning. Well, that's not true. I obviously do, but less so maybe than someone that feels really part of this community. Because I know I'm somewhat of an alien in that sense and non-relatable. My point in music has to be, I've got to make music that people relate to before they even listen to one thing I say. Sure. And I think that's the job of every artist. And even when you're angry, even when you're scared, even when society doesn't make sense to you, if you want to affect change, and this is for activist artists, not everyone is this kind of artist that just expresses, and we need that. We need to hear your feelings so we're we know what people feel like. But if you're trying to affect change in any way and heal in any way, yourself and or others, there has to be an understanding that your authentic self can't just come across as broken. There has to be a reason that someone's going to go, yes, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And that's where the healing and the gratitude comes through in the music, because if you don't put that in there, it's hard to go, that's contagious.
Right.
I want to be a part of that. And
Well, misery does love company, but it's like by feeding that, we're just going to get more of that, right?
And if you're challenging a paradigm and you're coming at the paradigm with misery, you're commiserating with the people that agree with you, but I'm trying to unlock something in myself.
Right.
And I'm not in this art, I'm not trying to blame. And I think that's what starts these culture wars. I'm perfect and you're wrong.
Right.
And like I'm a part of a system as much as anyone else, and I'm trying to be honest about it, so we can then make decisions to better it. And I feel like James Baldwin talks about how we don't have the ability to grow up. To me, that's the growing up. That's doing your own healing and looking at it elsewhere and how you can affect change elsewhere. And if you're in that music, you can't just come at it as like everything's broken. There's got to be a reason. And that's what I've been trying to write, is like, there's joy in that as well. There's humanity. There's absolute love in that, to face your fears and go, this is uncomfortable. And the thing is, with performing and writing and any of it, you're not going to be able to do it one day. This is going to stop.
Yeah.
So right now here, this is the blessing that you have. There's a gratitude in that. There's an epicness in the art in that. And if you watch your favorite artists, I believe that's what they're tapping into. That they're timeless, that this message at this moment, that's why you feel like you trust that energy. And we often listen to artists over politicians because we trust their feelings, you know? And so it's really important journey right now for all of us to be as authentic as possible and not in our primitive systems.
Well, you touched on something and you said, you're being honest. But I think even deeper than that, you're being vulnerable. There's a big difference there because, you can be honest with someone and not be vulnerable, right? You have a booger on your nose. You don't, but that's an honest thing, right? I guess it is kind of vulnerable to tell somebody that, but
yes.
But you can be honest and not be vulnerable. But to be vulnerable, and this is like, I think maybe even we talked about Brene Brown. I'm not sure if we did last time.
I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brene Brown, she talks a lot about vulnerability and like how that's something that we really, really need in life right now, because to like reveal yourself is something that takes a lot of courage, right? And what we need is courageous people. When people see a courageous act, they're going to act accordingly, right? And that might lead them to doing something similar.
Yeah, it's recalibration of vulnerability, recalibration of letting those walls down.
Yeah.
And I used to play my set with my walls up.
Sure.
So how am I going to recalibrate the room? That's the artist's job, is to let all the walls down in the room. And the first person in that room, if the artist isn't doing it, of course everyone else is going to be, ooh. Right. But that's what the corporate gigs have given me. I'm over there, and the more that I just loosen up and I'm in and I'm dancing, I'm smiling, I'm having fun. All we're trying to do as artists is we're just trying to we're looking for love. Like whatever made us artists is, we want love. We want more love in this world. And if I do that, everyone loves me more.
Yeah.
And they feel better. They feel like, oh, I trust this room. This room's got good vibes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. And so if you play like that,
it's like almost giving them permission to do the same.
It's exactly giving them permission.
Yeah.
You're the leader. That's why would they pay a musician to do that?
Right.
They want everyone to have a good time. So you got to get up there and feel something.
Yeah. Wow. That's very inspiring. All right. Well, hey, let's hear some.
All right. This one is an example of just a song that I feel like is that universal feeling. And I realize as an artist, I can't just be, in the last few years, I've wanted to go, everything I say has to be important because we're seeing so much important things online and everything seems so high stakes. And so anything I post has to be like equally high stakes. And it's that dance of how do you do that? And I think, at least in my role as an artist, is to show the relatability in beauty and this feeling that you might recognize, and then interchange that. And I think all my favorite artists kind of did that. Bob Marley's got songs that are just about love, and I'm going to treat you right, and give you some good love and kind of thing. And so it's like, I know that feeling, and you want to chuck that on date night. And then the next song is, stand up against, fight for your rights. Exactly. So I think that's the model in a lot of artistry, to show that here's something that's heavy and to make you think, and then something like this is like to remind you, if you trust this feeling, listen to the other feeling, because they're from the same place. And so this one's just called Nostalgia, which is what I think we're all trying to speak to.
a high school dance move. They played your favorite song when you were dreaming a dream. When you were only 18, I wanna be that one. I wanna be that one. I love to live in your nostalgia. Love, I love everything about you. Love, I love not much without you. Love, I love to live in your nostalgia. You're a miracle worker, yeah, since you came along. I've been living the high life, kissing under the street lights, glisten in the sun. I wanna be that one. Oh, the sound of your laughter, we were hanging out after, how'd you get so fun? I wanna be that one. Love, I love to live in your nostalgia. Love, I love everything about you. Love, I love not much without you. Love, I love to live in your nostalgia. Down right, and I light that spark in the dark and fading night. When you're stuck in traffic, waiting on the plane, I'll be walking my talk while you're taking a walk down memory lane. You still look the same. Oh, you look the same. Just like a high school dance move, you're like my favorite song. When you were dreaming a dream, when you were only 18, I wanna be that one. I've gotta be that one. I love to live in your nostalgia. Love, I love everything about you. Love, I love not much without you. Love, I love to live in your nostalgia. 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 Thank you.
I wanna be that one.
Yeah.
I love that. That's the nostalgia. Right
Yeah,
there.
we all wanna be
That's the, I want to be that one. Yeah. Beautiful, man.
Thank
Beautiful. It's such a pleasure being in your, in your.
Likewise. Thanks for the questions and the
Yeah.
the hearing. Like
Yeah.
some people ask questions and they don't really look at you like they're listening.
Well, I'm a student of life, and you have a lot to share in that regard. So
I appreciate you.
thanks for bringing it.
Cheers.
And thanks for coming back. And so let's just remind the folks. You got anything coming up?
Just old corporate world.
Yeah.
I've been doing an Encinitas Jam like once a month, and
Okay.
it's just at one of my neighbors like in the
sick.
driveway, and it's just been like a hangout and
Awesome.
a little mini open mic, and just trying to build that community of the trust. Like my own little neighborhood has music once a month.
Amazing.
Right?
Is that on your Instagram or?
Yeah, I'll be posting that on Instagram.
Okay.
So you just follow that so we can kind of get community together. And I'm still working. I'm in the middle of the EP where I'm recording that song and like 5 others. So it's a 6-song EP that I'm about done with. So within the next month, it'll be coming out. So,
Amazing.
Yeah. So
Okay, well, we'll look forward to that. Lee Coulter, as always, pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on Songwriter Showcase.
TXT.